We have seed planters. We have two-foot walking plow. We have more seeders for planting different kinds of seed. Bobsleds. They're a pair, one behind the other. And this is a hay tedder for tedding hay after it got wet, or if you wanted a very heavy crop, you wanted to stir it up to dry. This would fluff it up. Here for planting corn, drawn by the horses. And someone got tired of turning the crank and hooked it up to an electric motor. Over there we see planters for planting mangels or turnips. Many buildings that Archie has erected here. He spent a great deal of time and effort and also money. It's unfortunate to see it go. This is the town street, scenic side road. The blacksmith shop. The blacksmith is long gone. One time it was all set up for someone to go in and turn on the fire and start working. The forge that was used by many blacksmiths in days gone by. I've often seen Wes McCracken's father, Lawrence McCracken, with the fire on, heating, made horseshoes and all kinds of different things, besides shoeing the horses. The Boyne Bank, this was all set up when you turn things on. There was a robbery in progress, with the robber holding up the bank manager, complete with gun, mask and the whole bit, for loading hay onto a wagon. I stood on the wagon in front of one of these for many a load of hay. You sure could work up a sweat. A thrashing machine for thrashing sheaves of grain. The undertaker, and this was all set for someone who has passed away. There was a casket and a carriage. The doc was upstairs tending to another patient who was in bed. This was the stairs that led up to the doctor's office. Death gallows. If you didn't behave, you might find yourself hanging from this rope. The jail, where the violent prisoners were kept, just before they came out for the hanging. They called this a binder. Cut the grain, put it into sheaves, tied it, and kicked it out where it was made in it. Men come along making it into stooks. Vicious looking guard on duty there. Wouldn't want to tangle with that fellow. Chapel for church services, weddings, funerals, whatever was needed. Boot Hill. This is where they took them after the hanging. Boot Hill Cemetery. schoolhouse. There were probably a lot of these many years ago. Water wheel, which when the water flowed over this, with the size of the wheel, created a lot of power and would drive all kinds of grinders, or also lumber, cutting logs into lumber, sawmills. If I had been about a week or so earlier, all these buildings had furnishings in them, which have all been removed for the sale, which happens on September the 5th, a week from this Saturday. Rake the hay after it was cut with the mower into windrows. Another thrashing machine. Used around the railway stations to take the baggage back and forth from the baggage room to the train. With the large wheels, it rolled very easily. Of course, it was pulled by a man. For picking up large stones, the big chain would go around the stone. Then they put a long pole in the wheel up there in the middle near the top, and pull that around and wind up the chains, pick up the stone, and the horses would draw it over to the where they wanted to deposit it, and they'd drop it off there and leave it and go back for another one. Western films, we see these going flying by with the horses running, taking passengers and people back and forth, and called it a stage or stagecoach. An old seed drill for sowing grain. Also had a grass seed sower as well, could be put in at the same time or separately. And the covered wagon. It assembled quite an assortment of older artifacts. Time and weather have been hard on them. Which was drawn by horses. And a buckboard. Another buckboard. A wagon for hay or grain with the rack. And there are all kinds of pieces. This is the hearse with the coffin inside. Triangle on the ground is a jack for lifting up a wagon or a buggy or whatever to take the wheel off, grease it, put it back on, or could be used for lifting other things. In green before you would sow it in the ground to get rid of the weed seeds. This steel shed was used for many occasions. Weddings, reunions, birthday parties, church service. Archie made this available to the community for a very small fee. We will certainly miss being able to use this building and its facilities. This is the clearing auction for Frontier Village. Lovely morning. Looks like there's going to be a big crowd.
I actually used to sell real medicine over this way. Bad breath.
I'll betcha. Well, you look like you could do it all right.
I'm full of it.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Going to the Amazon and discovering all the remedies up the Amazon and how to keep young. And you'd sell all these wares, especially to the ladies, because they believed, they just fully believed And we'd have a clock just below the sign and saying, now the next show is at such and such a time. And the kids would all line up out the front here and they'd fight to sit underneath that shelf. Because when Uncle He, who's my name, Uncle He, had his show, we had a chap fire a rifle to shoot a cigar out of my mouth because he had drank some of my magic elixir and his eyesight had returned. So he missed and he hits this kettle and immediately the water sprays out all over the kids, and they thought it was just the greatest thing to get sprayed by Uncle He.
You know exactly where the proceeds and funds are going, right back into the community. So they're down here all set up in the canteen in the pavilion. Come on down, the coffee's hot, lots to eat.
Oops, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
So we can walk around.
Oh, I sent you back to the camp. Sunday.
The cars parked on number 10 highway for the sale for Frontier Village.